My dear child, life has tested you in ways that felt unbearable. You faced storms that shook your confidence, battles that left you weary, and voices that tried to convince you that you weren't strong enough. But here's the truth. Those struggles were never meant to break you. They were meant to build you. My dear child, look how far you've come. Every challenge you endured, every tear you shed, every moment you want to give up but kept going. Those are the steps that shaped the resilient person you are today. The past may have left scars, but scars are proof of healing. They remind you that you survived, and now you're ready to rise. My dear child, the barriers in front of you, they will fall. The doubts whispering in your ear, they will fade, because you carry a strength within you that no hardship can destroy. You're not defined by what you've been through. You are defined by the courage that kept you moving forward. My dear child, this is your time. The weight you've carried, the guilt, the regrets, the fear of not being enough, it's time to let it go. You don't have to earn your worth. You don't have to fight for your place. You are already chosen, already loved, already equipped for the path ahead. My dear child, stand tall. The world needs your light. Your struggles were never just about you. They were preparation for the hope you will bring to others. So take a deep breath, lift your head, and step forward. The best is yet to come. You are never alone. My dear child, there are moments when the weight of the world feels crushing, when the road ahead seems too dark, too steep, too lonely. In those moments, you may wonder if anyone truly sees your pain, if anyone cares about the battles you fight in silence. But listen closely. You are never alone. My dear child, I have been with you through every storm. When tears fell in the quiet of the night, when your heart ached with uncertainty, when the world turned its back, I was there. I have heard every whispered prayer, caught every falling tear, and held your trembling hands when you felt too weak to stand. You may not always feel my presence, but I have never left your side. My dear child, the lies of this world will try to convince you that you are forgotten, that your struggles mean nothing, that your voice doesn't matter. But those lies hold no power over truth. The truth is you are seen, you are known, you are loved beyond measure. When others walk away, I remain. When human strength fails, my strength carries you. My dear child, even now, as you read these words, I am breaking every chain that has held you back, every fear, every doubt, every voice that told you to give up. The battles you face are not yours to fight alone. I go before you, I stand beside you, and I am your rear guard. No force in this world can separate you from my love. My dear child, when the road feels impossible, remember this. The same power that calms the raging seas lives inside you. The same love that moves mountains is fighting for you. You're not abandoned. You are not forsaken. You are held, cherished, and guided every step of the way. My dear child, rest in this truth. Let it sink deep into your soul. No matter how fierce the storm, no matter how long the night, you are never alone. Your pain has a purpose. My dear child, I know the depths of your suffering. Those sleepless nights when your heart ached with unanswered questions, those days when the weight of disappointment pressed so heavily upon you that breathing itself felt like a struggle. You have asked again and again, why must I endure this pain? Why does the road to my destiny have to be so steep, so dark, so lined with thorns? My dear child, hear me now. Your pain is not meaningless. Every tear you cried has been collected. Every wound you've carried has been witnessed, and every struggle you face has been shaping you for a glory far greater than you can yet imagine. My dear child, look back at the moments when you thought you couldn't take another step, yet somehow you did. Look at the times when despair whispered that you were finished, yet here you stand, still breathing, still hoping, still reaching for more. That resilience wasn't an accident. That strength didn't come from nowhere. I planted it within you because I knew the battles you would face, and I equipped you to overcome them. The very struggles that threatened to break you have instead been forging you into something unbreakable. My dear child, The world will try to tell you that your hardships are a sign of abandonment, that if I truly loved you, I would shield you from all suffering. But that is a shallow understanding of love. A refiner does not leave gold in its rough state. He applies the fire, not to destroy it, but to purify it, to reveal its true brilliance. And my dear child, you are being refined. The fire may burn, but it is not consuming you. It is uncovering the strength, the wisdom, and the beauty that have always been within you, waiting for their moment to shine. My dear child, one day, you will look back at the season of struggle and finally understand. You will see how the loneliness taught you to hear my voice more clearly. You will realize how the betrayals made your discernment sharper. You will recognize how the delays cultivated patience in you, how the losses deepened your compassion, how the battles strengthened your faith. Nothing has been wasted. Not one tear, not one prayer, not one moment of endurance. I have been weaving even your deepest pains into a tapestry of purpose. And when the time is right, you will stand in awe of what I created from the broken pieces you once thought were beyond repair. My dear child, when the weight feels too heavy, remember this. The greatest warriors are not those who never face battles, but those who learn to fight with courage. The most inspiring leaders are not those who never knew failure, but those who rose after falling. The most radiant lights are not those that never faced darkness, but those that refuse to be extinguished by it. My dear child, you are becoming all of these things, warrior, leader, light, and your pain is the sacred ground where this transformation is taking place. My dear child, do not despise the process. Do not curse the struggle. Instead, lift your head and declare with confidence, this pain will not break me. It will build me. This fire will not consume me. It will cleanse me. This storm will not drown me. It will teach me to walk on water. For I am with you in the fire, in the flood, in the fiercest battles of your life. And I promise you this. The story I am writing with your life will leave you breathless with wonder when you finally see the full picture. My dear child, hold on, keep trusting, keep believing. Your pain has a purpose, and your greatest victories are still ahead. The hidden blessings in your waiting season. My dear child, I see you in the season of waiting, where the silence feels deafening, where the unanswered prayers weigh heavy on your heart, where each passing day makes you wonder if I have forgotten you. My dear child, let me speak truth into your deepest fears. This waiting is not abandonment. This pause is not punishment. This delay is not denial. What feels like a wilderness is actually sacred ground where I am preparing you for promises too great to enter unprepared. My dear child, you keep asking, how much longer? While I am asking you, how much stronger? Because strength is being forged in you right now that no instant blessing could have produced. Invisible to your eyes, but undeniable to my plan. Roots are growing deeper in this season. Roots of patience that will stabilize you when storms come. Roots of faith that will nourish you when droughts hit. Roots of perseverance that will outlast every trial. The world celebrates overnight success. But my dear child, I am cultivating in you an endurance that will sustain generational blessings. My dear child, consider the caterpillar in its cocoon. To the outside world, it appears as nothing but stillness, but inside, a miraculous transformation is occurring. If the cocoon were opened prematurely, the butterfly would emerge crippled, unable to fulfill its purpose. My dear child, this is why I protect your waiting season so fiercely. What feels like confinement is actually the safest place for your transformation. The limitations frustrating you today are the very boundaries preserving your destiny. My dear child, I know the ache of deferred hopes. I hear the whispers of doubt that come in the quiet hours. But remember this, some of my greatest gifts come disguised as delays. The child longed for becomes a leader who changes nations. The dream postponed becomes the movement that transforms communities. The prayer unanswered becomes a testimony that brings multitudes home. My dear child, your waiting is not wasted. It is the incubation period for miracles that require precise timing. My dear child, in this season when nothing seems to be happening, everything important is being arranged. While you wait for external breakthroughs, I am engineering internal revolutions. The relationships that need to align, the resources that need to be gathered, the doors that need to be unlocked. All are being prepared behind the scenes. You see the stillness. But my dear child, heaven's activity on your behalf has never been more intense. My dear child, the most dangerous thing you could do right now is rush the process. The Israelites' 11-day journey took 40 years not because of my forgetfulness, but because their hearts weren't ready for the promise. My dear child, I could give you what you're asking for right now, but I love you too much to let you possess blessings that would destroy you in your current state. The waiting is refining your character to match your calling. My dear child, let me show you the hidden manna in this wilderness. While you wait, I am teaching you to hear my voice more clearly than ever before. While you wait, I am stripping away dependencies on anything but me. While you wait, I am building in you a gratitude for simple blessings you once overlooked. My dear child, these are the eternal treasures being stored up during what you mistakenly call delay. My dear child, today I invite you to shift your perspective. Instead of counting the days, start counting the ways I am showing up in small but profound ways. The unexpected encouragement that came at just the right moment, that was me. The sudden peace that washed over you in chaos, that was me. The scripture that leaped off the page straight into your heart, that was me. My dear child, I am speaking constantly in this season. If you'll tune your heart to listen, my dear child, your breakthrough is not late. It is perfectly timed. When the moment comes, you'll understand why nothing could have happened sooner. The pieces are falling into place in ways you can't yet see. The prayers you think are unanswered have actually been gathering like mighty waters behind a dam. And when they're released, the flood of blessing will overwhelm you with its perfect timing. My dear child, stand firm. The waiting is almost over. But more importantly, the becoming is nearly complete. Soon, sooner than you think, you will look back on this season with tear-filled gratitude. Realize it was never about the destination, but about who you became along the way. And my dear child, who you are becoming is more magnificent than anything you've dared to dream. My dear child, there is a sacred alchemy happening in your life right now that your natural eyes cannot yet perceive. A divine transformation where the base metals of your struggles are being turned into the gold of wisdom, the silver of resilience, and the precious jewels of unshakable faith. My dear child, what the enemy meant to destroy you is becoming the very foundation of your future glory. My dear child, I want you to understand the profound truth that your greatest adversities are actually incubators for your most powerful anointing. The rejection that left you breathless with pain is preparing you to welcome the outcasts. The financial struggle that keeps you awake at night is teaching you principles of abundance that no prosperity sermon could convey. The betrayal that shattered your trust is making you discerning beyond human wisdom. My dear child, every storm you endure is depositing in you a supernatural capacity to weather greater challenges ahead. Not just for your survival, but to become a shelter for others when their storms hit. My dear child, consider the diamond, formed under crushing pressure over incomprehensible time. What if it could speak during its formation? It might cry out against the darkness, protest the unbearable weight, question whether the process was worth enduring. But when finally brought to light, cut and polished, it becomes a thing of breathtaking beauty that captures and refracts light like nothing else. My dear child, you are that diamond in formation. The pressures you resent today are creating facets in your character that will one day reflect my glory in ways that will leave the world in awe. My dear child, I see how exhausted you are from fighting the same battles again and again. You whisper, when will this end? But I tell you, you're not circling the same mountain. You're ascending a spiral staircase. With each rotation, you're gaining higher ground. What feels like repetition is actually elevation. The enemy you face at the base of the mountain is the same in name only. You're meeting him now with more wisdom, more authority, more spiritual weapons than you possessed before. My dear child, you're not stuck. You're being prepared for dominion. My dear child, there's a reason why some of the most powerful ministries emerge from seasons of brokenness, why the most anointed songs flow from places of deep pain, why the most transformative testimonies are birthed in valleys of despair. It's because there are dimensions of my glory that can only be accessed through the fellowship of suffering. The Apostle Paul understood this when he spoke of knowing Christ and the power of his resurrection and the fellowship of his sufferings. My dear child, your tears are not wasted. They're liquid prayers watering seeds of destiny that will bloom in due season. My dear child, I need you to grasp this eternal principle. The cross always precedes the crown. The tomb comes before the resurrection. The breaking of the alabaster jar releases the fragrance. Your current struggles are not evidence of my absence, but proof of my profound work in your life. The most beautiful symphonies require seasons of silent practice. The most magnificent cathedrals require years of unseen labor. My dear child, what I'm building in you through these trials will outshine every moment of pain you've endured. My dear child, look at the heroes of faith: Joseph in the pit and prison, David in the caves, Esther in the king's court, Jesus in Gethsemane. Their darkest hours became the turning points of history. Why? Because they understood that adversity is not the opposite of favor. It's often a pathway to it. My dear child, your story is being written with the same divine ink. The chapters that feel unbearable now will one day be the ones people turn to when they need hope in their own trials. My dear child, I'm not just bringing you out of this season. I'm preparing you to lead others through theirs. The comfort you're receiving now will become the comfort you impart later. The lessons that seem so painful to learn today will become the wisdom that delivers multitudes tomorrow. This is why I allow the refining process, because gold purified by fire can be trusted with greater responsibility. My dear child, your trials are expanding your capacity for glory. My dear child, today I invite you to shift your perspective on adversity. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" begin asking, "What is this preparing me for?" Instead of praying only for deliverance in the fire, ask for the revelation in the fire. For it was in the furnace that the 3 Hebrew men saw the 4th man, like the Son of God. My dear child, your most profound encounters with me may well happen in the places you're trying so hard to escape. My dear child, take heart. The night is darkest just before dawn, but dawn is coming. The pain has a purpose. The struggle has an expiration date. The tears are being collected in bottles, not one drop wasted. And when the fullness of time comes, you'll stand amazed at how perfectly every piece fit together, how every setback was actually set up, how every no led you to the right yes. My dear child, the alchemy is nearly complete. What was meant to break you has only made you stronger. What was designed to silence you has only given you a louder voice. What was intended to bury you has simply been the fertilizer for your blooming. Hold on just a little longer. Your story isn't over, and the best chapters are just being written. My dear child, I see the exhaustion in your soul, the way you push forward with weary determination, the heavy sighs that escape when no one is watching, the quiet desperation in your prayers for just one moment of true peace. My dear child, you have been fighting so hard for so long, carrying burdens you were never meant to bear alone, operating under the crushing weight of expectations, both yours and others. Today, I extend to you the most sacred invitation of all, the call to come away with me and rediscover the revolutionary power of holy rest. My dear child, in a world that glorifies hustle and celebrates burnout, I offer you a countercultural truth. Your worth is not measured by your productivity. Your value is not determined by your output. Your identity is not tied to your achievements. My dear child, you are mine, precious, beloved, and enough simply because I say you are. The ceaseless striving can stop now. The frantic proving can end today. There's a place prepared for you where your soul can breathe, where your spirit can expand, where your heart can remember what truly matters. My dear child, do you remember when you first knew me? That childlike faith, that effortless trust, that joy in simply being together? Somewhere along the way, the cares of this world convince you that our relationship had to become another item on your to-do list rather than the source from which all life flows. My dear child, I long to restore what the locusts have eaten, not just your time or energy, but the sacred simplicity of walking with me in the cool of the day, unburdened by performance, unshackled from religious duty, utterly alive in the freedom of my presence. My dear child, consider the lilies of the field. They neither toil nor spin, yet Solomon in all his glory was not arrayed like one of these. The birds of the air neither sow nor reap, yet their songs fill the heavens each morning. My dear child, why do you labor under the illusion that everything depends on you? Why have you taken the weight of the world upon shoulders I specifically designed to carry only what I give you? The universe existed before you and will continue after you. Not because you're insignificant, but because I am sovereign and my plans will prevail with or without your anxious striving. My dear child, true rest is not an activity. It's alignment. It's not laziness. It's trust in action. When I rested on the seventh day, it wasn't from exhaustion, but to establish a rhythm of grace for all creation. The Sabbath wasn't my need. It was my gift. My dear child, this is why the enemy fights so fiercely against your rest. Because a soul at peace in my presence becomes an unstoppable force in the spiritual realm. Your quiet moments with me terrify hell more than your busiest days of religious activity ever could. My dear child, I see the lies you believed, that if you stop, everything will fall apart, that if you pause, opportunities will pass you by, that if you rest, you'll be left behind. But hear me clearly. Some doors only open when you're still enough to notice them. Some answers only come when you're quiet enough to hear them. Some breakthroughs only happen when you're surrendered enough to receive them. My dear child, your frantic efforts may be keeping you from the very miracles you're working so hard to achieve. My dear child, there's a deep magic and divine rest that rearranges the chaos around you. When Moses lifted his arms in prayer for dependence rather than military strategy, the battle turned. When Jehoshaphat sent singers ahead of the army, the enemy was defeated without a sword being raised. When Jesus slept in the storm, he demonstrated authority no amount of anxious striving could produce. My dear child, your rest is not surrender to circumstances. It's defiance against the spirit of this age that says you must earn your worth through ceaseless labor. My dear child, I know your fears, that if you slow down, the bills won't get paid, the dreams won't come true, the people depending on you will be disappointed. But what if I told you that your obedience to rest will release my provision in ways your striving never could? That the project you're agonizing over will flourish when you stop forcing it? That the relationship you're trying to fix will heal when you release control? My dear child, I am not limited by your limitations. My power is perfected in your weakness. My strength made perfect when you finally cease your own. My dear child, today I invite you to lay down the armor you've been wearing so long it's become a prison. Take off the mask of having it all together. Step out of the hamster wheel of performance. There's a green pasture waiting for you, a still water prepared for your weary soul. My dear child, you don't have to earn this rest. It's already yours. You don't have to qualify for this peace. I've already paid the price. You don't have to understand how it all works. You just need to come. My dear child, in this sacred space of surrender, you'll rediscover truths the world has tried to steal. That you are loved before you achieve anything. That you are valued when you produce nothing. That you are enough because I say you are, not because you've proven it. My dear child, this is a gospel in its purest form. Not a demand to work for my approval, but an invitation to rest in my finished work. My dear child, the world will tell you this is foolishness. The enemy will whisper that you're wasting time. Your own mind may rebel against the stillness. But my dear child, I am calling you deeper, beyond human logic, beyond religious expectations, beyond the tyranny of the urgent, into that secret place where your striving ends and my glory begins. My dear child, take my yoke upon you, not the crushing weight of the world's demands, but the easy burden of walking in step with me. Learn from me, for I am gentle and lowly in heart, and you will find rest for your soul. For my yoke is easy and my burden is light. My dear child, this is your birthright. This is your inheritance. This is your home. My dear child, beneath the surface of your daily struggles, beyond the temporary battles that consume your attention, there exists within you an unconquerable kingdom, a divine reality so magnificent it makes the grandeur of earthly empires pale in comparison. My dear child, I am calling you today to awaken to this profound truth. You are not merely a human being trying to survive in a broken world. You are a citizen of heaven, an ambassador of eternity, a bearer of my unquenchable light in the midst of profound darkness. My dear child, do you realize the weight of glory you carry within your fragile frame? That same power that spoke galaxies into existence, that raised Christ from the dead, that toppled the walls of Jericho. This power lives in you as a perpetual indwelling presence. My dear child, the enemy has worked tirelessly to make you forget who you are, to keep you distracted by temporary struggles while eternal realities go unnoticed. But today, I break every veil of deception. You are not what your failures say you are, not what your bank account declares about you, not what others' opinions have labeled you. You are mine, royal, chosen, holy, a peculiar treasure among all creation. My dear child, consider the caterpillar's metamorphosis. What appears as death to the untrained eye is actually the birth of something far more glorious. In the same way, your current struggles are not evidence of defeat, but the necessary process of your true identity emerging. My dear child, the pressures you resent are actually squeezing you into your predestined shape. The trials you beg me to remove are the very tools fashioning you into a vessel of honor. The delays that frustrate you are protecting you from premature exposure to assignments you're not yet ready to handle. My dear child, I want you to understand something revolutionary. The kingdom of God is not some distant reality to be experienced only after death. It is here and now, within you, around you, waiting to be recognized and manifested through your surrendered life. When Jesus said the kingdom of God is at hand, he wasn't speaking metaphorically. He was declaring an available reality that would transform everything it touched. My dear child, this is why hell fights so fiercely to keep you focused on circumstances. Because the moment you truly grasp your kingdom identity, no prison can hold you, no storm can sink you, no enemy can defeat you. My dear child, remember Paul and Silas in the Philippian jail? At midnight, the darkest hour, they began to sing. They didn't sing for deliverance. They sang because they knew something the prison walls couldn't contain, that they were free men regardless of their physical chains. My dear child, their praise didn't come after the miracle. It became the conduit for the miracle. When they aligned with heaven's reality, earth's circumstances had no choice but to conform. The same is true for you. Your worship in the midst of struggle is not a denial of reality, but an affirmation of a greater reality. My dear child, I need you to grasp this eternal principle. You are not trying to get victory. You are coming from victory. The battle at Calvary wasn't the beginning of a war. It was a decisive end of one. When I declared it is finished, every chain of hell was broken. Every disease was healed. Every curse was nullified. My dear child, your daily struggle is not to achieve victory, but to appropriate what's already been won, to walk in the conscious reality of a battle already decided in your favor. My dear child, look at David facing Goliath. Where others saw an unbeatable giant, he saw a defeated foe. Why? Because he fought from victory, not for victory. While Saul's army measured Goliath against their own strength, David measured him against mine. And in that light, the giant was already toast. My dear child, this is how I want you to face every challenge. Not from a place of fear and lack, but from the settled assurance that whatever you're facing has already been overcome by the power working within you. My dear child, there's a reason why the enemy works overtime to keep you ignorant of your true identity. He knows that once you truly grasp who you are in me, his ability to intimidate you evaporates. A lion doesn't beg for authority. It simply roars from its innate identity. My dear child, you are that lion, not because of your strength, but because of mine at work within you. The same spirit that raised Christ from the dead lives in you, not as a passive resident, but as an active, transforming power waiting to be released through your faith-filled words and actions. My dear child, today I invite you to step into the fullness of your royal identity. Begin declaring who you are rather than lamenting what you're not. Start speaking truth to your circumstances rather than letting circumstances define your truth. My dear child, the words you speak are not mere sounds. They carry creative power to shape reality. When you align your confession with heaven's declaration over you, the natural realm has no choice but to conform. My dear child, I know the doubts that arise. If I'm really seated with Christ in heavenly places, why do I feel so earthbound? If I'm more than a conqueror, why do I keep facing defeat? But feelings are not facts, and visible circumstances are not ultimate reality. My dear child, even now, as you read these words, unseen armies are mobilizing on your behalf. Divine strategies are being downloaded into your spirit, and circumstances beyond your view are being rearranged to align with your destiny. My dear child, this is your awakening moment, the hour when scales fall from your eyes and you begin to see as I see. The temporal will fade in significance as the eternal comes into focus. What once terrified you will become insignificant as you grasp the weight of glory you carry. My dear child, you are not waiting for a breakthrough. You are the breakthrough the world is waiting for. My dear child, stand tall today in your true identity. The same power that sustains the universe lives in you. The same wisdom that designed creation guides you. The same love that sacrificed everything for you now flows through you to a broken world. My dear child, you are not alone. You are the dwelling place of the Most High, the living temple of Holy Spirit, the hands and feet of Christ on earth. My dear child, the kingdom within you is greater than any kingdom that stands against you. Walk in this truth and watch as mountains move, chains break, and impossibilities bow before the unconquerable life I've placed within you. The world has yet to see what I will do through a person who fully grasps their identity in me. My dear child, let that person be you.